Throughout the many years of the internet's existence, the furry subculture has become a very well-known and vilified facet of the online landscape, with a community welcoming both younger internet users and fully grown adults alike. The subculture has become mainstream, as a majority of the members bond over their love of anthropomorphized creatures. While the community has been the target of vitriol due to the strange pastimes of its denizens, it's fair to say that a majority of the people within it are not really deserving of the hatred. Despite the community's cheery appearance on the outside, a surprising level of drama and controversy has taken place below the surface, out of the eye of the wider internet, with most people never hearing about it due to the underground nature of a majority of the subculture. But in the case of today's video, we'll be looking at a specific situation that not only saw the furry community put into a position of mainstream critique, but also threatened to cause a deep schism within the community itself, leading to two very defined sides coming out on top. At some point throughout the year 2018, a Twitter user would expose a Telegram chat belonging to a large group of furries, who would use the platform to distribute heinous animal abuse images and videos. Amongst the group, many different people of varying notoriety, nationality, and degeneracy would be exposed, in a story that would see some manage to slip away mostly unscathed, with no legal ramifications being brought unto them. The story would also see others having their lives changed forever, as their identity and indecency was brought to the attention of the wider internet, in a large-scale investigation where every detail was revealed about their personal lives. Today, we're taking a quick look into the zoophile leaks. This video is being made due to the poll that I did on my YouTube community tab. Thanks to everyone who voted and anyone who's recently subscribed. This video is going to be a look into some of the individuals who were implicated in the zoophile leaks. We will investigate these people's backgrounds, their presence within the Telegram chats, and most importantly, what became of them after the leaks. The reason I'm breaking this video down like this is because there are so many people involved in this twisted tale that if I was to cover them all in one video, it would probably be about 5 hours long. Because we're only looking into some specific individuals in this video, there's a real possibility that I'll make more videos in this same format later down the line, depending of course on what you think of this one. If you want me to do that, leave in the comments whether you feel like that would be a wise move in the future, and I'll definitely get to work on a part 2, 3, 4, and how many other videos come along after this. Before we look into anyone who is actually implicated within the logs, I thought it would be interesting to look at the person who initially leaked them, that being a Twitter user by the name of Pseudonym, who would go under the alias of Akela elsewhere. While it was plausible that the info about the zoophile and zoosadist telegram would have leaked at some point, Akela's intervention made the investigation much more transparent. Despite this leak being the main motivator within the community to dig deeper and bring justice to this disgusting facet of the online community, Akela would not necessarily be devoid of responsibility for this telegram's existence either. You see, Akela wanted to appear as a good furry Samaritan, someone who simply wanted to purge the community of evil degenerates and destroy the platform that facilitated the torture and murder of many innocent creatures. However, Akela themselves were also openly a zoophile, and in the tweet where the telegram was leaked, they released the content under the pretense that the people in the group didn't represent zoophiles as a whole, arguing that they were the bad ones, and that a majority of people who want to fuck animals are actually fine, effectively using the same argument that your one friend who plays Genshin Impact uses to justify playing a game that makes people's fathers leave them. Don't worry bro, not everyone that plays Genshin Impact is a sweaty lolicon Discord mod. Or, sorry guys, not everyone who wants to fuck animals is a bad person, just the people in this one telegram. Despite being the main reason that this furry crime ring was exposed, Akella didn't get off lightly when it came to being scrutinised by the wider internet. Of course, putting yourself at the front and centre of a situation where zoophiles and zoosadists are being tied to videos and images of disgusting animal abuse, and then also being a part of said community, is already bad enough. But the community at large believed that the exposing of this info was done with self-defense as their main prerogative. I want you to put yourself in the shoes of a zoophile for a second. I know you aren't actually one, or at least I hope not, but to make this next bit work, try to imagine yourself in this situation. You are a zoophile. You're sexually attracted to animals, and by proxy, you're also a member of the zoophile community. You either stumble across this telegram filled with the worst content you've ever seen, or you've become privy to its existence somehow, and you want to stop it. If we look at the morally righteous outcome, your efforts could have genuinely originated from a want to expel criminals and degenerates from your community. Despite ostensibly being in the same group as the people in the telegram, you decide that what you've seen is so evil, you're willing to put yourself in the line of fire to stop what's going on the dark underbellies of the internet. However, if we look at this from the more morally grey perspective, a new narrative arises. At some point, this info will probably leak anyways. You're a part of this community and have at least some online presence. It would make sense to get ahead of the potential shit show that would emerge if you don't make your move now. So you choose to reveal all and get out of the line of fire that your community will undoubtedly experience. We will never probably know the true intentions behind Akella leaking this group chat. That hasn't stopped people from theorising that Akella was simply trying to cover their arse, with others also believing that Akella specifically wanted to stain the reputation of one member of the group, a well-known and popular furry in the Telegram. Which leads us to the first person we're going to cover, who is actually found in the logs, that being the most recognisable person to the wider community, the one with the most to lose, Kero the Wolf. Kiro the Wolf, real name Josh Hoffman, entered the furry community at some point during 2012, where he would seek refuge for his interests in furry culture. His YouTube career would start off slow, like most people's, but as time went on, he would become a notable creator, as his channel would begin to find a stable audience and consistently hit many milestones. In 2018, he would manage to hit 100,000 subscribers, and in 2017, he would even be interviewed by Shane Dawson of all people, automatically boosting his notoriety within the YouTube landscape. Kero had managed to put himself in a very admirable position, as he could theoretically coast off his lucrative YouTube channel and Patreon while making content about the community he loved. For many, he was in a position that most people dreamed of, but it would all come crashing down when he was implicated in this leak. Amongst all the people in the Telegram, the community chose to instantly laser focus their interests on Kero. As he had the biggest reach in the group, it was automatically a big deal that such a successful creator would be engaged in these kinds of things. Initially, one video stuck out to the ballsy internet users who were brave enough to search the depths of the leaks, the video being of what people believed was Kero having sex with a dead deer. As news began to travel fast around the internet, Kero, in an attempt to avoid scrutiny, started trying to claim that he had been hacked, and that he was not the one found in the chats, but instead someone posing as him. While it would later be confirmed that the man in the deer-fucking video was actually not Kero, he would attempt to provide evidence showing that his Telegram had been hacked by someone from Iran. The issue with this is that the screenshot Kero provided to prove his innocence actively showed that he was using a VPN, leading to the birth of the Iranian super hacker meme, as instead of actually being hacked by someone from Iran, it was Kero instead trying to muddy the waters of the detective efforts of the community. Users with a deeper knowledge of Telegram as a platform would also reveal that Kero was in fact the one behind the chat logs without a doubt. Not only did Kero's claims that his Telegram had been hacked for multiple years without his knowledge crumble under the slightest bit of scrutiny, but the claims he was trying to make directly contradict how Telegram as a platform works. While I'm not exactly fully aware of the technical aspects, Telegram effectively uses a bunch of back-end servers that make it effectively impossible to hack or tamper with evidence when it's within the application itself. Meaning that Kero's claim of some super hacker from Iran downloading more RAM to his EXE and adding 4 teraflops of internet doesn't actually make any fucking sense. While Kero would claim to have never had any sexual interactions with any animals, images would later surface of Kero himself sexually assaulting his own dog. Users would identify similarities between the scenery in the images and the places he had filmed in his videos, as well as the dog featured in the images, which matched Kero's dog Coda. Some of Kero's chats regarding his dog would also be found, where it would be revealed that the dog had suffered severe health issues due to the sexual abuse at the hands of its own owner. More images, this time featuring a roadkill fox, would also be found alongside chats that correlated to this interest. Kero would not only talk about his interest in sexually desecrating the corpses of dead foxes, but would also talk about how he obtains said animal carcasses. After laying low for a while, Kero would begin to make appearances on other YouTube channels in an attempt to clear his name and answer some of the community's questions. The first person that he opened up to about the situation was a YouTuber by the name of Kothrex, who had initially confronted Kero with the info from the leaks, in hopes that he could convince him to come clean. Kothrex would release a video claiming that he had finally gotten a confession out of Kero, that Kero was indeed the person in the chat logs and that he had not been hacked, and that he had a passing interest in at least some aspects of zoophilia. The problem with this is that evidently Kero has a lot of trouble keeping his story straight, as he would go on to later contradict basically every claim that he made to Kothrix in a video interview that was released only a day later. Appearing in a video with Ashley Zoe Fox, Kero would claim that he was in fact hacked, that he didn't ever have sex with animals, living, dead or otherwise, and that he didn't even like zoophilia. Listening to this Kero interview is like watching an American footballer drop the football and still run to the end zone to try and score a touchdown, just constantly denying the existence of visual proof in a way that's so flippant it's anger-inducing. People began wondering why these two videos provoked such different responses from Kero, but the answer is actually pretty simple. Ashley Zoe Fox became well known during this period for being the leader of the Kero Defense Squad. Wherever Kero was trying to defend himself, Ashley was right there up his poo-poo running defense as hard as possible, at one point even posting a fake police report in a cockamamie attempt to exonerate Kero for his crimes. And no, it didn't work. This led people to question why two videos that were made in a relatively similar period of time were so different, with Kero effectively completely changing his story between the two of them. While it's obvious that Kothrex's approach was a more stern and genuine attempt to get answers from Kero, it was also blatantly obvious that the biased Ashley Zoe Fox effectively ceded the floor for Kero to use the same already provably false defenses due to being biased towards him. Ashley Zoe Fox would become such an obnoxious aspect of this situation that the Kiwi farms effectively destroyed their career just because they felt like it. While Kero's reputation has been forever tarnished due to his presence within the Telegram chat, as well as the proof of him sexually abusing his dog, you might be surprised to hear that Kero did in fact make a comeback to YouTube. His channel, which underwent a name change at some point and is now known as Radiance, consists mostly of old Kero uploads, with him only occasionally making new content for the channel. When the name change took place, it didn't take too long for people to see right through the simplistic attempt to rebrand, and the channel would be talked about by some furry YouTubers who disagreed with Kero's attempt to return, after what he did. If you can believe it though, the channel still has over 80,000 subscribers, and still seems to have a fanbase full of either little kids or Spanish-speaking users. While Kero wasn't even necessarily the worst person in the Telegram, his online audience far surpassed anyone else who was featured, and because of that, he automatically became the face of disgusting animal abuse online. Kero's inability to keep his story straight as well as his attempts to lie put him in a position where he was being focused on by all sides at once. Even if Kero was seemingly able to avoid legal ramifications during the course of this massive shit show, his name has been tarnished indefinitely. In the eyes of an internet personality, public reputation is king, and in the case of Kero, his chance to really solidify a YouTube empire came crumbling down because of his brutal and necrophilic tendencies.